I am Miss Carpenter and I'm creating this video to show you how to use Education Galaxy. So your student will log on with their lunch number and everyone's password will always be 1234. So when you go to educationgalaxy.com, after your child logs in, this is what it'll look like. And to get started, I have the students go under the purple, My Study Plan. And you can go to math, language arts, reading. We do a little bit with social studies and science, but we mainly stay in the reading, language arts, and math section. So if you were looking at the report card and you notice maybe your child has a 1 or a 2 in certain areas, you can use that report card to help find some practice. So maybe you saw on the report card your child had a 1 or a 2 on main idea. So you could get some practice on main idea on Education Galaxy, and it'll give you specific examples on what they're actually doing in the class. So you'll click on main idea, and your child can either choose to do game mode, and that just means after one question, if they get it right, they get to play a quick game. It's a great little quick break. And they can earn rockets for their games. So it kind of makes it a little bit more fun when they do that. I'm just going to click no game just to get us to the questions. But every time they log on, there are 10 questions to complete a whole assignment. And it, like I said, it'll give you specific questions that align with the standards. So you don't have to go and investigate and figure out, how do I teach my child main idea? Here it is. It's here for you. You guys can work together. I encourage you, if you are doing this with your student, start by always reading the questions first and talk about like what they're trying to do before they're reading. So if it says, what is the main idea of this passage? Just help set the focus. Okay, so while we're reading, we're going to figure out what it's mostly about. And then you can read it together and then go and review the questions. And even when you're reviewing the questions, maybe talking about why a specific question would be eliminated. Like, why would we not pick this one? Why did this one not make sense? So that's a good way to just help your student build that common sense and that good test taking strategies. And if you have a student who struggles with reading, I would do maybe where you do one together and then the next one they have to read on their own. So maybe that'll help break it apart. You can always come back if you don't want to do all 10 at one time. It will save their results and say they stopped on number 4. The next time they got on it would start them on number 5. And there are also some tools. There's a highlighter. You can make the font bigger if they need it to be bigger. They want to highlight things. So those are some special tools. One thing also to make sure you pay attention to is make sure your child is either under informational or literature. So there's an ask and answer standard for informational, and then there's an ask and answer questions for literature. So fiction versus nonfiction. Just like we compare and contrast in fiction and nonfiction, but they would have different questions. Because I did notice a few parents, did not teach compare and contrast for informational. We taught it in fiction and literature. And so their child went and took the one for nonfiction, and it was really hard just because we haven't worked on that skill yet. So make sure you pay attention to whether it's an informational standard or a fiction literature standard. All right, as far as math goes, again, it's going to have every standard that we work on here for you guys. So if you go into the report card and you see that maybe your child needs help with multiplying by multiples of 10, there will be questions for that. If they need help with rounding, just like how this specifically targets whatever your child is needing help in. So hopefully this will be a helpful resource for you guys.